everybody, my name is Mathas and welcome to the next Judge Mathas episode. This is going to be fun because even though I mentioned it in the video coming up, I'm also going to mention it here for those who may be interested. This is going to be the first of a series of reviews. It's going to be my first marathon series review where I tackle one game and do every single game in that series from beginning to end, back to back to back. And it's going to be starting right here with Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain. Barring December, where Star Wars month will interject itself. But other than that, if this goes over well and people like it, I'm excited to do more. And if not, it was a fun little experiment. And also, word to the wise to those who may be collectors like myself, finding a complete inbox PC copy of Blood Omen was the bane of my existence for the longest time. I couldn't find one, and maybe because I'm just not good at searching, but if you are a collector, let me know how hard it was for you to get this if you have it, because holy crap, this was near impossible for me to find. Anyway, I'm excited to tackle Blood Omen. It's a game that I played about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's been a while since I got to run through it again, and I want to see if all my opinions that I had of it back then still hold up. So let's take a look at Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen. Man, remember Nosgoth? Yeah, neither does anyone else. You know what people do remember though? This cause it's f***ing metal. 1996 was wild, man. It was the year of the Nutty Professor, comedy gold. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, or JTT as I like to call the hunk, was making all the preteen girls feel the devil's feelings. And hot dang it, Tony Braxton was on fire. Unbreak my heart. Say you love. It was also well over a decade before vampires would be ruined forever in pop culture. And segue into Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen. Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain. I'm not sure. The first game in what would eventually become a huge, intricate story told through a series of games called Soul Reaver and Surprise Blood Omen. And it all started right here with Legacy of Kain. I suppose now's a good time as any to let you guys know that, barring December and Star Wars month here on the channel, this is actually going to begin the channel's first marathon review, wherein I'll be playing and reviewing every single game in a series back to back and reviewing them one by one here on the channel. It's kind of exciting and I'm really excited to do it and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, back to vampires. From moment one, Blood Omen is unforgiving in its gore and themes, and it's all fantastically 1990s. Some hideous demon creature, a vampire, bursts into a local game store in the middle of some nerd's LARP session and literally removes the skin from one of the people. He then proceeds to, in all early CGI glory, murder every single person in the room while they cry and wail for someone named Malik. I cast magic missile into the darkness. Oh, dang it, I rolled a 1. What I love about this cutscene in particular is that they don't even pretend or try to show the vampire being quick or nimble in any way. His sheer presence in this opening scene is slow, powerful, and cocky. He knows these fools present no threat to him in any way and methodically kills them off one by one, all while laughing and taunting them. And for the time period, with some excellent voice acting mixed in.
For fulfilling the circle, Malak of the Sun, you are hereby damned.
Even the way a vampire drinks blood in this game is awesome. Ripping the blood from the corpse a good distance away. No need to bite the flesh, just gimme that blood. Letting the opening scene finish, we see some woman die, a bunch of pillars crack, and we cut to our main character, Kain, in a bar, wanting to booze it up. But it's late at night, the bartender is rude, and we're kicked out, where a bunch of bandits jump us right in front of the door.
Assassin!
I'm sorry, what? I didn't quite get that.
Assassin!
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to pass. Thank you for the offer. A few questions. First, bartender, hello? Do you hear me being attacked outside your door? Some help would be nice. Second, why? Why jump me inches from a public place? Why not try and rob me first before going for the kill? Why kill me at all for that reason? What did I do to you? Rude. After being unceremoniously murdered, we find ourselves somewhere in the afterlife, chained to some pillars with the very blade that murdered us thrust through our chest. A necromancer of some sort then approaches us and offers Kain a choice: to accept fate and die, or to return to life and take vengeance on those that killed us. And in a moment driven by pure impulse and rage, Kain chooses the latter. The sword is ripped from our chest, our body is completely transformed, and we are sent back into unlife to destroy those who dared attempt to destroy us. But we are no longer mortal and human. We are now a vampire, awoken in the tomb we were sealed in after death, weakened by the sun but strengthened by the night. And with that, the scene for our game is set. And all of that is only the first 5 minutes of the game, and with it, the tone of this world is laid before us. It's one of the Legacy of Kain series' greatest strengths, its foreboding gothic fantasy world. Games rarely did, and rarely still do, though less nowadays, stray from the idea of the player being a hero, set out to save the world from a decidedly evil force looking to either destroy, kidnap, enslave whatever person or world you inhabit. But here, you're far from a hero. You're a vampire whose sole purpose is to exact revenge on those that killed you. It's a selfish, power-focused quest where your goal starts and ends with killing those who wronged you and curing yourself of the vampiric curse you agreed to in haste. Once you awaken in your tomb, remove the wandering skeletons and gravekeepers, sorry guys, nothing personal, and head into the world to exact revenge, gameplay takes a pretty by-the-books approach for even 1996. The camera is top-down in a similar vein to Diablo or Zelda, and the gameplay is pretty simple. You've got one button to swing your weapon wildly, and another to cast magic, and a final one to drain the blood of your enemies or food. It's far from complex in any way, but the sheer options the game will give you by the end with different spells and weapons and more will more than make up for the simplicity of combat. I've seen a lot of people compare this game to Diablo, but outside of the camera angle, I actually don't really understand those comparisons. The game is much closer to Zelda, so much so that I would say the creators were huge fans of the series and took massive inspirations from it. The world is open, filled with secrets to discover. New areas become accessible as you acquire new powers, just like Zelda does with dungeons and new weapons. And it's all about heading to the next dungeon to progress the story forward while attaining said new powers. The biggest difference between the two is outside of the much more mature setting, Legacy of Kain has a bigger focus on the story.
My mind was empty save for one thought. I would kill.
And without spoiling anything, Blood Omen is story-rich, filled with fantastic voice acting, really fun twists, and an ending that feels like it comes out of left field, but not in a jump the shark kind of way, and more of a BioShock kind of way, if that makes any sense. And another thing the game does extremely well is making you feel powerful. Most other RPGs, you walk into town and people be up in your face like, "Oh, hero goodness, my poor doggy has run away, please, can you help her?" And you're all like, "Of course, good sir, I'll venture forth and rescue the innocent canine." But in Blood Omen, nope. "Excuse me, sir, can I get..." But the absolute best part is how the NPCs react to your murder spree. Some you can walk in and murder everyone in front of their eyes and they continue to walk around like nothing happened. Other times you walk in and the women immediately come up to you and start trying to slap you in the face for merely existing. It's so unpredictable, it's hilarious. But in the end, they all serve the same purpose: to feed upon. Towns are places you go to refill your health. Blood Omen was a very surprising game for me to play. It did a lot of things games didn't do for a long time. Beyond a dark, villainous story where you are the terror the people fear in a gory, gothic world, it also toyed with ideas that, while clearly very rudimentary, were things we would see become staples in games years later. There's a day-night cycle that directly affects Kain himself. At night, Kain is stronger, can kill quicker, and is generally just a powerhouse, while during the day he's weakened and takes more hits for him to take down a foe, and while still stronger than any mortal, he's notably less so. It also brought on a dynamic weather system where it would rain occasionally, and running water of any sort is a big problem for vampires, meaning Kain would take damage over time if he stayed outdoors while it rained. I was a bit disappointed with the weather system in general, however, because in less than an hour of playing, the game gives you an upgrade that completely negates the effects of rain. So why have it hurt you in the first place? Still, having a dynamic weather system like that of any kind in the mid-90s is impressive. Looking back at Blood Omen, it's certainly not a complex game. Its one-button combat system ensured that, but its very complex and engaging story, excellent voice acting, and mature twist on the Zelda formula kept me hooked from start to finish. It would attempt to break the monotony of combat with some simple dungeon puzzles, but overall those typically devolved into finding the right button to press in the right order to open a locked door, never really reaching the heights of more classic Legend of Zelda puzzles. But I still found myself struggling to critique this game for certain things. While Blood Omen is no looker nowadays with slightly muddy graphics and glorious stiff mid-90s CGI, I walked away impressed and feeling like a very powerful vampire in a world I was destined to rule.
You will have the blood you hunger for.
Back in 2012 and 2013, I was actually doing scripted content on my Let's Play channel over at MathasGames. And the last video of scripted content I actually did is on Legacy of Kain Blood Omen. It's long since private and nobody can see it but me, and the reason is, I hate the video. It's just poorly done, and for some reason, me back then was really desperately looking for reasons to rip this game apart and make it out to be a bad game, which it really isn't. The game is really good. Sure, 1996 is very different from 2017, and gameplay is clearly improved. And the biggest complaint I think I can level against Blood Omen is that its combat is floaty and a little awkward, if a little simplistic. But I cover that in the video, and I still walk away very impressed with what Blood Omen is for its time. A dark, mature Zelda with a world and lore that is way deeper than it has any right to be. And I, as the Honorable Judge Mathas, judge this game as innocent. It tried to do so many cool new things while twisting the formula of what was tried and true and adding their own dark gothic spin to it. Did it all work out? No, but most of it did. And it spun off a 5-game series with a 6th weird multiplayer game by Square Enix that kind of flopped hard. So we're going to be moving on to Soul Reaver next, but before then, we'll be hitting Star Wars month in December. I've got my 2 games picked out for that, and then come January, we'll pick right back up with Soul Reaver. So my question to you guys is this: what game do you love that you get to play the villain? Not the hero, not even a weird kind of neutral character, straight up villainous character. There's not that many out there, but it's a genre and a type of game that I would love to play more of, and I'd love to learn a few more games out there that have you play as a bad guy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been really excited to cover this game for a long time, and it was in the works for a few weeks. And we'll be moving over to Star Wars month starting next month. I'm excited to start that up all over again. I love you guys. Thank you so much to those who watched the video, and thanks a ton to my patrons over at Patreon. If you want to check out what benefits you can get by supporting me on Patreon, the link will be in the description below or somewhere here on this window soon enough. And if you are a collector, like I said earlier, I'm curious how hard it was for you to find this, because God, it was almost impossible for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.